What's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go over the entire inkjet transfer process on a good sized piece of artwork. So let's get started.
Hey guys, if you like what we do, and we do a lot, 3 videos a week, almost 2,000 videos, love it for you if you would subscribe, click that little bell icon. We'll keep cranking out the content for you. Don't forget, our March giveaway is going on right now. Great package. There's a link in the description below with all the details. All right guys, so we're going to show you the whole process. Here is the artwork that we're going to use. We kind of picked out one that we thought would be applicable and everybody would like. Now let's get into preparation and the supplies that you're going to need before we get started. Here's some supplies that we think it would be a good idea to have on hand. First of all, it's just some blue tape. This is the green tape that sticks to the shiny surfaces, which is really a game changer. A good pair of scissors is a good idea. Now here's the 2 different ways that you can do the inkjet transfer that we like. This is what we used for years, which is the freezer paper. All this stuff, by the way, there'll be links in the description. We really like the label backer. This is just literally any labels. It's on a slick surface. This is what we've been using for the last year or 2. We really like it. I think it's a good idea to have some kind of a paper cutter. If you don't have one of these, you can use a straight edge and a razor knife in place of this, but if you can get just a cheap paper cutter, because of the grid on there, it really makes things easy. So let's get into the process. So in my opinion, preparation is key. Not only having the right tools, and for me, I like to do a practice one on regular paper to really get an idea of what your layout looks like and where you're going to tape and all that stuff before you print out your freezer paper sheets.
So an advantage of doing it on a practice run is that each page you have, you can label what you need to trim on that one. That way, when you print it out and you have it on your freezer paper or your label backer, there's no guesswork. So you label each page, and then also it allows you to plot where you're going to put your tape, because there's some times where you don't have a whole lot of space to put your tape. But we're going to get into that.
So we printed this out 22 inches long by 12 inches wide. We used rapid resizer. Right here there'll be a link to the rapid resizer, and that's how we got to the process that we are at now. We've got all of our tiles printed out on the freezer paper, and now we're going to put them together.
So when you're trimming the excess off the top or the bottom, all that open space, you want to make sure to leave about 1 inch. That way you have a way to touch the paper, maneuver it, so you're not smudging anything, and also it gives you a little bit of space to tape when you put your transfer actually on the board. If every piece of paper on the top has 1 inch and it's as exact as you can get, it makes it a lot easier once the paper is flipped over to center it on the board. Now, when you're doing your margins, you want to get as close to that dotted line as you can. Make it a nice straight cut. That's going to make things a whole lot easier when you go to put it together. So I like to put the top row together first, and then put the bottom row together, and then because we left the margin on the bottom of the top row, it'll fold right on top. So this is where this green tape is imperative. We used to do it with blue tape, but somebody mentioned this to us and we tried it. This will actually stick the shiny part of the paper together. This stuff is freaking awesome. So a couple things to remember when putting your tiles together, guys. Number 1, try to avoid touching the ink at all costs, because it will smudge and it's really going to mess up your line. Number 2, it does not have to be absolutely perfect. Remember, this is just getting the image on the board. Sometimes if there's an image that maybe doesn't show up quite as good as we want, then we'll take some time before we start carving, look at the actual image itself just on a piece of paper, and then trace in the lines where they need to be.
So now that you've got your piece all put together, it's the size that you want it. Now what you need to do is center it top to bottom, assuming you've got no other carving on the board. And in this particular instance, we don't have any carving. We're just doing it on a scrap piece. But if you have carving on the board, you need to center it left to right, top to bottom, in the area that you want your image to be.
So one thing that I do that Dad doesn't do, but he's wrong, is I use the blue tape on the seams on the back. That way it solidifies the whole thing as you're transferring it onto the board. So when you're transferring and you're doing the rubbing on the paper, there's several different things you can use. We really like these little yellow spatulas, but for a long time we used the depth gauges. You just got to make sure that you don't rub too hard and that you don't tear the paper. You just got to make sure that you don't rub too hard and that you don't tear the paper.
Alright guys, we tried to put in as many details in there as possible. Again, we picked one with 6 tiles. So the same process would work whether it's 2 tiles, 6 tiles, or 16 tiles. The biggest thing for me on this is preparation.
So the biggest thing for me is getting it done, because this is the worst part of sign carving, in my opinion. However, if you don't prepare and if you just rush through it, like I do, every once in a while you'll have to sand it off, reprint everything, and do it all over again. So, I hate to admit it, but Dad's probably right on this one.
Oh, so something I'm not wrong about.
Something.
Amazing.
That's right.
Thank you.
Very few.
You've grown so much.
Very few things, but this is one of them.
Anyway, this is my favorite transfer process. It just takes a while to kind of get used to all of the things that are involved.
But guys, if you have any questions at all, feel free to shoot us an email, Ryan@makeawoodsign.com.
Eric@makeawoodsign.com.
And also guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, all that stuff. And we have our big March giveaway.
So that's it guys. Thanks so much for watching. We love you. We'll see you on the next one.